Hello, universe. Welcome to the most spectacular wrestling podcast you will find on the internet. You are listening to Tag Me In, bro. I'm Joe Tantillo, and as always, I'm seated next to my terrific co-host, Taryn O'Connor. Say hi to the people, Taryn.
Hi to the people, Taryn.
If you're new to the show, the format is simple. Each week, we discuss all the magnificent moments, turbulent times, and stunning surprises that professional wrestling has to offer.
So turn your radio up and your opinions down, because we've got some hot tags coming up NXT, which means next.
Give me a hell yeah! I said give me a hell yeah!
Hello, universe. It's Joe Tantillo, the J-Lister here, bringing you Tag Me In, Bro, and your Monday Night Raw review and additional wrestling odds and ends. We have had a great weekend of wrestling between Money in the Bank and NXT. There was a lot of good stuff, some bad stuff as well. You can catch all of our thoughts on our Money in the Bank and NXT review podcasts, but we are here today to talk about Monday Night Raw, and it was one of the better shows since WrestleMania. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Lots of stunning surprises and very few turbulent times. So let's get into it. But first, folks, you don't want to miss out on 1 second of Tag Me In Bro content, so go on Twitter right now and follow us at Tag Me In Bro. Now I hope everyone is excited for the show because it is about to go down in a big way. Today, tomorrow, and every day, we are talking wrestling. First things first, we'll cover the Raw Rundown, where we'll give you our analysis of the most important bits of last night's show. After that, we've got our How to the People segment, where we gauge people, you, the audience's reactions on various topics throughout wrestling. This week being, do you believe that Ronda Rousey will actually serve her full 30-day suspension, or do you think she'll come back early? After that, we take a trip to the Indie Corner. We'll be talking a little bit about the upcoming New Japan Pro Wrestling G1 event. Then we move on to our main event, where we'll be talking about the question on everyone's mind this week. And then we finish the show the way that we do every night with our Stars of the Night. But the question on everyone's mind this week is, were the fans warranted in chanting negative things during Roman vs. Jinder at Money in the Bank? We'll be talking a lot more about that in the main event. But first things first, let's get to the Raw Rundown. Woo! Here are the only 5 things you need to know from Monday Night Raw this week. Number 5, Bo Wyatt. Number 4, Bayley and Sasha break up at long last, but also kind of again. Number 3, the Extreme Rules multi-man number 1 contender match is announced. Number 2, Ronda Rousey suspended. And number 1, and new Intercontinental Champion Dolph Ziggler. So, Raw was, dare I say, great. I very enjoyed it. It wasn't perfect, but it was pretty great as far as Raw's concerned. Number 5, Bo Wyatt. So, speaking of brothers impersonating brothers, let me introduce my co-host for the day, my real-life bro from the same O, John Tantillo. Say hi to the people, John.
It's me. It's JJT.
We're talking Raw from last night. So, the B team, Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel, impersonated the Deleters of Worlds, with Bo Dallas doing an impersonation of his real-life brother, though not his kayfabe brother, Bray Wyatt, creating Bo Wyatt, which was frickin' hilarious. It was just great, and you realize how much they look alike and how much they sound alike when he did it.
Yeah, it was a great segment, not to mention Curtis Axel's terrible impersonation of Woken Matt Hardy, which just brought a smile to my face.
Do the impression.
I will delete you.
It was just so bad, but it was so good.
It was truly terrible, but in the best way.
The B team are making a beeline for I made myself laugh with my own terrible joke. That wasn't even a joke.
Joe, I want to leave the show.
No, you can't quit now. Anyway, the B team are making a beeline for the Raw Tag Team Championships, and what is going to be, I think, a pretty decent match. But what I would really like to see is for the B team to become the Broken Team and join the Woken family, because I think they could do some really great work all together.
Yeah, I think that's what this is building towards, and a lot of people have been talking about it online. I know I personally would look forward to that on a week-to-week basis, so I hope that is the direction that they're going in.
So, number 4, Sasha and Bayley break up again. They've popped off before, but this really felt like the final time. Sasha said, we're no longer friends. I think she's the heel, but also Bayley beat her up. I don't know. They're kind of keeping them both face and both heel at the same time. I wish there was a full Sasha heel turn. A lot of people online want a full Bayley heel turn. That's all well and good, but Sasha's a terrible face, and that's the one that really needs to happen sooner rather than later. Because let's not forget, Bayley is a great face. They just write her poorly. Sasha is not a great face, and they write her poorly. Anyway, hopefully this finally leads to a series of matches. I said on Twitter, and this was actually really positively received, I'd really love to see these two in a best-of-7 series with increasingly difficult matches. So start off with a normal match, move to submission, move to steel cage, move to a street fight, and the loser of the best-of-7 series leaves Raw, and it should culminate at WrestleMania. I think it would be incredible, and so do apparently a lot of people on Twitter. It was really just a throwaway thought when I put it out there, but now I'm sticking to my guns.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just excited that these two are finally doing something worthwhile. I mean, they haven't given Bayley anything. Sasha got to be in the ladder match and all sorts of stuff, and Bayley's just kind of been drifting. Yeah. Just drifting like her mixed match challenge partner.
Yeah, moving to number 3, Kurt Angle announced that there would be a number 1 contenders match at Extreme Rules. It would be some sort of multi-man match, maybe a fatal 5-way like they did last year. Who knows? They haven't specified, but we do know that Bobby Lashley and Roman Reigns will both be competing in it, and it also seems like maybe Elias and Finn will also be involved based on what they hinted at last night during Raw. So we will see. I think it'll be a good match regardless of who participates. I love a good number 1 contender. We've talked about how it's really important to have those number 1 contender matches on pay-per-views.
It's just sad that it has to be under these circumstances.
Yeah, it should be every pay-per-view, not just when your champion doesn't feel like working. But looking forward to that. Moving swiftly forward, Ronda Rousey was suspended for assaulting new Raw Women's Champion Alexa Bliss. This is the feud that Ronda needs to catapult her to the top tier of star in WWE. She did great last night. She really looked like she punched Ronda with a straight right to the gut at one point, or punched Alexa rather.
It was brutal. Fully brutal. I'm going to say it again because I messed up saying it the first time, but I honestly think that Ronda Rousey might have the best striking in the business as of right now.
I think so. I would agree with that.
It's truly great.
Well,
she kicked a referee right in the stomach, too. That was savage.
Yeah, the other people who have great striking, like Baron Corbin, for example, have fighting backgrounds. Like, the fighters know how to strike and make it look real, and also maybe sometimes accidentally hit people. Like, Brock's got great striking.
Yeah.
But she razor's edged Alexa through the table.
It was a weird, like, modified powerbomb.
Alexa actually took a bump, which never happens.
Oh, it was crazy.
Yeah, and she beat up Kurt and some refs, and
she fully judo threw Kurt at one point when he tried to break up the fight, and it was great stuff.
I don't think she'll serve a full 30-day suspension, but I also don't know if she's got stuff going on outside. It's a great way to write her off TV. I think she'll find a way to come back and just keep attacking Alexa periodically and scaring the shit out of her. Nia and Alexa have the rematch at Extreme Rules. I think Nia will lose that match, but we shall see. And the number 1 thing that happened on Raw last night, which was one of the most exciting things that's happened on Raw in a very long time, though people are very upset about it, but I wouldn't be upset. You should be excited because it was so fantastic. Dolph Ziggler defeated Seth Rollins to win the Intercontinental Championship. Now, I've been saying for a little while now, I felt like the company is getting ready to take the title off of Seth Rollins because I think he's going to move into the main event, into the Universal title picture. I thought he was going to drop it to Elias on Sunday. He did not. He dropped it to Dolph Ziggler last night after some, not interference, but a minor distraction from Drew Galloway. It was a pretty clean win. Dolph had the tights, but oh well, Seth had the tights on Sunday, so who cares?
It was a pretty brilliant storyline.
It's funny.
Storytelling, rather.
It's funny because when the match started, I turned to John and I said, man, wouldn't it just be so great if Dolph won here? Like, they never just have surprise championship title changes out of nowhere anymore. And then it fucking happened, and we were losing. We were marking out so hard.
It was great. And for people that don't know, I absolutely love Dolph Ziggler. I want him to be World Heavyweight Champion so bad. And I know it will never happen, but I want it to so bad. And I love him. I think he's an incredible performer. He's great on the mic. His feud against The Miz was so good. And they just need to write him well.
Really excited to see where this goes. I would love to see Drew, and I've been saying this for a long time, since Drew debuted on Raw. Drew should be the next person to pin Braun clean. He should be the person to take the Universal title off of Braun, now that we know that Braun is very likely going to hold that title. I want to see Ziggler as IC champ while Drew holds the Universal Championship. Now that is a fucking dangerous combination.
Yeah.
Like, that would just be great television. And that caps off our discussion. It was a great Raw, ladies and gentlemen. Some people on Twitter didn't seem to like it, but we really, really thoroughly enjoyed it. It made us very happy, and it has me excited about wrestling again. And it's funny how wrestling works that way. Some nights you're disappointed, some nights you're excited, but it's always there.
Yep.
And that's why we love it.
Some nights I wake up cashing in my bad luck. Some nights I forget the rest of the words.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, Fun was a band.
She don't know. Some nights I wake up cashing in my bath band. I don't know. Anyway, let us know your thoughts on Twitter and social media as well. And speaking of social media, do you like that transition? It's time to say hi to the people. This week on Hi to the People, we want to know your thoughts on will Ronda Rousey actually serve her full 30-day suspension, or will she come back early? We'll be running a Twitter poll for the next 72 hours and discussing the results here on our show next week, so let us know exactly what you think about that. You can vote on Twitter by tweeting at us and using the hashtag HotTag, or email us at tagmeandbro@gmail.com if you still use electronic mail and are not Thor Odinson. To share your opinion and maybe have your thoughts read out on the show every week, we'll read out some of our favorite responses. Last week, it was all the fan predictions for the winners of the respective pay-per-views this weekend. The fans won, so congratulations. We have not taken that title from you since we debuted it at WrestleMania, so well done. Looking forward to seeing what you guys think about Ronda's suspension.
Bullet Club is fine.
Let's take a quick spin to the Indie Corner. This week on the Indie Corner, we would just want to give a shout out that the G1 is happening very, very soon. If you're not aware, this is a big tournament that happens in New Japan Pro Wrestling every single year. Tons of matches, World Cup style in terms of eliminations and rounds and things like that. It's really great. You see some excellent matches. Just for example, this year we're going to see Tanahashi versus Jay White, Kota Ibushi versus Kenny Omega, just to name a couple. Absolutely check this out on New Japan World. It's going to be great, and the winner gets a contract to have a match in the main event of the Tokyo Dome at Wrestle Kingdom. Last year it was Naito. The year before that it was Kenny Omega. The final is always spectacular, so be sure to keep an eye out for that. I believe it starts on July 14th, so mark your calendars and get ready for some exceptional wrestling. And now it's time for the main event. This week in the main event, we're talking about, were the fans warranted in chanting negative things throughout the Roman vs. Jinder match at Money in the Bank? It's been a hot topic all over social media. People want to know our opinion, which is weird. It's weird that people actually messaged us and they were like, what do you think about this? It's weird to have people actually care, but also very nice, so thank you for asking. John, I'm going to take the start on this if you don't mind. So I actually think that the fans were completely in the right to chant. Now, I have been very vocal before that chanting for the sake of chanting and trying to get yourself over can be incredibly rude. But in this case, I don't think that that's what the crowd was trying to do. Now, I want to say, as soon as they brought out the beach balls, that's where I draw the line, because I really hate the beach balls. That's truly like, you're truly, truly not paying attention to the match. Like, that's peak disrespect. So once it reached that phase, that's when I start to get annoyed. Now, but in terms of chanting, this is boring, NXT, Johnny Wrestling, CM Punk, this match sucks, let's go Cena sucks. There are not a lot of ways for wrestling fans to communicate to the higher-ups and the brass that they do not like the product. And Roman and Jinder are two wrestlers that people feel have been shoved down our throats, that a lot of people really viscerally hate, and they disagree with their decisions to be booked as main event stars. So other than complaining online, which for the most part, 99.999% is not seen by anyone relevant, complaining at a show, especially at a pay-per-view, with loud, thunderous, hateful chants is a great way to get across the fact that you don't like what's happening. That was, and I feel bad for Roman and Jinder, because we always say this, it's not their fault. It's not their fault that they're in the position they're in. It is absolutely the people in charge who put them there. But that's how you communicate to the CEO of the company that you don't like what he's selling to you. And that match was combining the worst of the worst for a lot of people. John?
Yeah, I've got a lot of mixed feelings on this because, for one, I do think that it's been earned. I mean, people have clearly stated that they don't like these two superstars. They don't want to see them in this spot, but I don't know. It just felt weird to be hating on this specific match because, one, it was not in an important spot at all. It was a cool-down match, which I think a lot of people would like to see from Roman. I mean, he's been in the last 4 WrestleMania main events, so it's good to see him not in the main event for once. I mean, but beyond that, people weren't really watching the match. It wasn't a good match, but it was not even close to the worst things that either of these two men have put on. But, I mean, yes, it is warranted to chant, but, again, the beach balls are incredibly disrespectful, and I fully disagree with that. I mean, but, yes, this is the best way to communicate, so I'm glad that they did it. Hopefully we'll see improvement from it. But also, I want to give props to Jinder and Roman for not dropping the match and just giving up on it entirely. I mean, they wrestled the full match and they did it. They gave their all for it.
Yeah,
so.
Respect to them. And, a lot of people were saying, like, oh, like, but Chicago does stuff like this all the time. Well, go back and watch the entire weekend of wrestling. They only did it for this match. So it is specifically aimed at these two guys. So you can't just say, like, it's just Chicago and they're being smarky, like, because that's nonsense. I mean, that's just silly. And it's not like it's the, as international of a crowd as Raw after Mania either, which is mostly hardcore fans. So this was specifically targeted at this match and the frustration. And Jinder's push seems to be dwindling a little bit. He's got this new weird gimmick where he's going to be talking about like spiritual healing and stuff. Roman's, on the other hand, is as strong as ever. Literally last night, the second they mentioned Brock, his music hits. Like, he is still full-blown Universal title bound. So it's not going anywhere. The mega push that never, ever ends. But, overall, fans, I don't like the concept. I don't love the concept of hijacking a show because the fear is that if it's allowed to go on, that fans will just start doing it just to do it.
Yeah.
And just to be dicks. But I think most fans, and I found at least, most fans are good, kind-hearted people. Which is why when this happens, it's, I think, abnormal,
Yeah.
Like, I don't think most fans are jerks, and I've always had great experience with wrestling fans. I think they're some of the best people in the world, especially as we found through just doing this podcast and making more friends through Twitter and social media. So when fans do something like this, they really are trying to make a statement, and I think that's good. You don't want it to be taken too far. When you start to get into the beach balls and the ridiculous stuff, you start to move too far. But in general, it's not the worst thing for this to happen, especially when people just truly don't care about that match.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, from the second the bell hit, they were chanting CM Punk. So
yeah.
It's...
And the thing is, yes, there probably were, children there and other people who really were looking forward to this match, and it probably affected them negatively. And that is unfortunate, but there is also, we can't tell every single wrestling fan to not cheer or boo because you don't want to hurt other wrestling fans. Like, we have to respect all opinions. And there is an inherent risk with every live event, whether it's a sporting event or a concert, of like, not necessarily being a perfect environment. And you don't want to get on the topic of like trying to censor people, because that's a rabbit hole you don't want to go down into. But yeah, it is what it is. I think it was fine. Some people really upset them, but I truly think it was okay. It doesn't happen that often. It really only happens with Roman or Jinder, and it's up. If WWE aren't going to change, then it's something that they're going to have to live with.
Yep. It's as simple as that.
CM Punk, CM Punk, CM Punk. That's the only one I don't get. Like, just cheer for people who are still in the company. He ain't coming back.
It's a meme now, and it's Chicago. You got to expect it.
Yeah, that's true. Anyway, that's been the main event. Let us know what you guys think. Can't wait to hear from you. Thank you, John. That was a terrific discussion. Now let's finish the show the way that we do every week with our Stars of the Night. Here are our Stars of the Night for Monday Night Raw, June 18th, 2018 edition.
You just made the list.
Number 3, the B Team. The B Team, and especially Bo Wyatt, were hilarious this week. Really enjoying their work. They've been terrific a few weeks in a row now. The Raw Tag Division is not particularly strong, but I'm really loving what they're putting out. Number 2, Ronda Rousey. She balled out. She balled out at Money in the Bank, and she balled out last night. She's really proving to be stupendous, and I'm sure it won't be long before she's earning the number 1 spot on this list, weeks in a row. And number 1, the Zig Man, Dolph Ziggler.
Nobody calls him the Zig Man.
I know, he has so many nicknames, and I picked one that's not a nickname. Anyway, Dolph, you are the new Intercontinental Champion, and you deserve it. Well, that will do it for us here at Tag Me In Bro. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at Tag Me In Bro. Subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Podbean, TuneIn, Google Play, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, YouTube, or many other places where we can be found. Drop us a review there if you care to. If you enjoy the show, we really appreciate it. As always, we're eager to hear your thoughts, comments, questions, answers. So please let us know what you liked, what you hated, and what you could give a fuck about. For my co-host, John Tantillo, I have been Joe Tantillo. Thanks for listening to Tag Me In Bro, and we will see you tomorrow for SmackDown Live with Team Less Little Less Big. Goodbye, universe. Goodbye, y'all.